Hello, this is Dylan Berry. Welcome to Music Industry Talks. Today on the show, I've got a bunch of amazing guests. I've got Marie Højlund. She is a Danish rock star. She's also a PhD, and she also teaches sound design, and she's got a new solo project coming out, and I'm so excited to talk to her about that. I also have Susan Slamer, the VP of Music at Sony Pictures TV. Wealth of knowledge on the licensing space. You're going to want to hear what she has to say. We also have Edgel Groves Jr. Edgel is in command of 240 million music makers at SoundCloud and helps them with artist services. He's the senior manager of artist services at SoundCloud. Also, later, Eli Brueggemann, the music director of Saturday Night Live, will pop in and talk to us a little bit about his experience doing music in that format for the show. All right, let's get into it. I'm so glad to have you all here and to dig into the business. Susan, I want to start with you. You work at Sony, you oversee multiple television shows. I think any musician in the world wants to hear very specifically, how do I break into music licensing sync?
Here's what I tell people. Researching all the TV shows and who their music supervisors are if they have one. Music supervisors are the gateway between me and the producers of television. I get probably every day at least 10 to 15 submissions from various companies, indies, libraries, major record labels. I do try to listen to a little bit of everything I'm sent. I can't listen to it all. And I will listen more if the email intrigues me. Introduce yourself to these people. Let them know your name and what you do. And, you know, to me, that's the best way right now to get into any of our TV shows. And if you write me and say, hey, I have 2 songs here. I think one's great for the Blacklist, and I think one might be great for this show. And I agree with you, then I will send it off to the supervisors. They're so music savvy and they get so much music. And so they'll listen, but that doesn't mean that I always say to composers and writers, I can lead the horse to water, but I can't make the damn thing drink. And be really critical of your own music. You know, if you have any doubts that it's not right, don't send it. You get one shot at this, one shot. You get one shot to get me interested. And if you blow the first shot, I might not give you a second. I might, because I'm kind of a softie about that.
I think that the one thing that you said that rings the most true is less is more. Send the exact same thing, because you do not want to burn people's time on, oh, this might work. If it doesn't absolutely work, like if it's 70% might work, don't send it. Don't send it, because they're just going to go, it doesn't work. You burnt my time. I needed that 2 minutes back. So Marie, you're a sound designer, obviously an amazing musician. Tell us a little bit about your professor situation at the university. And I know you teach sound design as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I just finished like oral exams throughout the day on Zoom. So I had students talking about sound design suggestions for like the Corona situation. So they were kind of trying to innovate how to connect with each other through different means with sound.
The name of your solo project is KH Marie, correct?
Yeah, and it's...
Have any music out yet?
3 songs, and the album is out in September. And for the first time, I've done the lyrics in Danish. So for me, that's like, it's terrifying, because it's like your own native language. Suddenly you hear all kinds of nuances that was just like blurring in the English one. I just got this small bottle. Can you see it?
Oh, that's LSD. Yes, I've seen that.
No. It's like the scent of my new album, which is a project I'm doing with Berlin lab. It's like it's called Smell Lab, and so we're doing from the lyrics. We're doing a scent that'll be like inside the vinyl, but also a part of the concerts. So what I'm basically trying right now is to like, how do you expand then the album now that we can't make like normal concerts and all these things. So trying to think about it in new ways.
That's amazing. And that brings me to our next guest, Edgel, who has a really diverse experience dealing with artists as an artist manager and now dealing with millions of artists at SoundCloud. You're an ear to so many musicians doing so many different things, so many different ways, like Marie with the Sense and bringing in a 360 thing because we're in this whole, lockdown world. What sort of innovation are you seeing within the artist community?
I think there's always something new and different happening, but the most important thing right now is just consistency. I mean, with streaming being everything, and people living through their phones and living through their laptops, and also that there's no live shows or touring happening for the past few months. The artists that are doing the most right now are the ones that are just getting really, really consistent and smart with creating a sound that matches with their identity and just hammering that home. People always say, well, what's that silver bullet? Like, what's that one thing I can do to take my career from where it's at now to that next level? And my answer is always, there is no silver bullet. There's no one thing you're going to be able to do. I actually say, do all of the things. Learn how to do music video production. Teach yourself sound design. Teach yourself how to do production. Like, go down that rabbit hole of all these things. Don't wait on anybody. And, to answer your question specifically, the artists that are doing the most right now are those artists. They're not waiting for the tour bus to show up to their house. They're not waiting for a label to call them. They're going, I don't really care if any of that shows up. I don't care if it happens for me. I'm just going to do my thing. I'm going to connect with my fan base.
I've interviewed a lot of different artists and, explored how they went from zero to, to a successful business. And by and large, every single one of them said, I just stayed consistent. I had nothing. All of a sudden I got a tick up, and then I got another tick up, and then I got a big tick up. And before I knew it, I was in business. I think if you look at the different verticals for music, you've got touring, you've got music licensing, you've got production, you've got talent services, singing on tracks, doing whatever you're doing. But you also have things that a lot of people forget, like merchandising and brand integrations. And, you can do those on any level. You don't have to work with Pepsi. You can call up some local company and say, look, give me $1,000 and I'm going to create a local campaign for you.
I totally agree with you that in terms of brands, for instance, did a big project with Nephew and Siemens Gamesa, which is doing like the largest wind turbines in the world. And that's like, how can this match together? But we did like music for a windmill, where the windmill controlled the tempo of the songs of Nephew. So basically we made like this installation for a year on a website, just to say that the arena you are in the music business, think out of it. Think, okay, how can a windmill company maybe make some kind of collaboration with you?
I just want to ask, let me think of something clever to ask. If you could give me two very brief ideas of how musicians on any level can access new technologies. I'll start with you, Marie.
Basically, I think there's a big field opening up, at least in the Nordic countries, with thinking about healthcare and music and sound. Look into how you could think of music and sound, not in like a time-based, but like an event-based way. Right now, I'm doing a new project where I make music for delivery rooms in a hospital. So we are going around recording nature in Denmark. But I think there's a big area opening up there in the Nordic countries.
Susan, two ways, very quick and very simply, two ways that are the best foot forward with a music supervisor, besides what you already said.
You have to know when to be assertive and when to back off. You have to have a rhythm about when you pitch them so that they're not overwhelmed and tired of hearing from you. It's a fine line. I would not pitch if you didn't know what they were working on. You could do a pitch to introduce yourself, certainly, but know who they are and know what projects they're working on. Like I said, be creative in your pitch. You could be funny, you could be whatever you want to be. If you're getting in touch with people 3 and 4 times a month, it's too much. Pitch music that's really lends itself to film or television. People have great songs, but sometimes I go, well, I don't see how this would work in the medium.
3 things. Make a good, simple impression, best foot forward. Play the long game, don't badger people. And very clearly, do not send anything unless it's perfect or you won't get a second chance. Edgel, 2 resources for independent musicians.
It's cool to stay on top of trends, emerging technologies. So there's a company, an app called Voicey. It's doing really amazing things for artists that can like spark your creativity. You can go in there and there's like thousands and thousands of backing beats that have been uploaded by producers around the world, and you can sing top lines over it, create original music. I think that's huge for anybody who's just trying to stay on top of their creative game. You know, there's also the video game market. There's so many of these independent video game companies and the large ones like Space Ape Video Games where they're just developing stuff constantly. And if you're creating sound design for the games or you're pitching to them, that's a really easy way to make extra money. You know, and there's companies like Twitch. You know, there's lots of ways to get your music into Twitch now. Like SoundCloud just did a partnership with Twitch. So we've actually, you know, started facilitating live streams that artists can monetize on Twitch, which I think is really, really important. So just understanding all those different levels of how to get your music out there. It's not just one size fits all. Email lists. Just because you have 300,000 Instagram followers doesn't mean shit. Get your 5%ers, that's what I call them, of your hardcore fans and move them over to an area where you can have a direct relationship with them and stay in contact and keep them up to date, give them exclusives, merch, things like that. If you're not staying in contact with your hardcore 5% fans, you're not running a business. You're really missing out on all those different opportunities as an artist. And I think people forget that. I think people think that email is somehow uncool, but there's nothing more uncool than having a bunch of followers on social media that you can't contact at any given time.
What I hear time and time again is activate your core fans, spend time on them. Don't spend time on always trying to get new fans. And definitely always research the new tools. And there's you know, sites like Crunchbase that nobody would think to check, but you can go there and look at new music tech. And there's some amazing things on there that you can get in early on before everybody else gets in on it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this segment right here. And I really appreciate you all coming on. I got Danish rock star Marie Højlund. I always mess up the last name. Did I get it kind of right? Okay. Soundsmith and PhD. Got Edgel Groves from SoundCloud, senior manager of label services and all-around entrepreneur in a bunch of different cool things. You should definitely catch up with Edgel. Susan Slamer, VP of Music at Sony Pictures. And your wealth of information on licensing. Thank you for being here. This is the Royal Music Talks. And thank you. I'm Dylan Barry, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And we'll be back next week. Okay.